Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured, why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description and every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say, I'm watching so-and-so show. And then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it. And that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 2, Episode 3 of Apple TV's Foundation, entitled King and Commoner. So I think the obvious go-to interpretation of the title here is in reference to how the episode introduces us to Hober Mallow. On this planet, Corel, we see an elaborate ruse take place between the King Corel, and the Commoner, which in this scenario would be Hober Mallow. But I think also there's a less obvious or a more beneath the surface interpretation as well. They could also refer to the relationship dynamic between Day and Bel Rios, who we meet in this episode as well. And to that point, the Empire plotline it's just firing on all cylinders. Bel Rios as a character was great, as was his introduction and his scenes with Day in this episode. I thought that already in the very brief amount of time we spent with Bel Rios, he's already a interesting, complex, and three-dimensional character, which is more than can be said for almost every character on Justified, but that's neither here nor there. But unfortunately, that's probably all I'm liking about this season so far is the Empire plotline, and unfortunately, that's the one I'm getting the least of. This isn't the same show that I watched in Season 1, at least not right now. I enjoy it still, but it's lesser than when compared to Season 1. It's far too lighthearted. At least aspects of it are. You know, I loved the weight of Season 1, the tension, the gravity and importance of everything that was happening and why it was important and what needed to get done. The show took itself super seriously. It even impacted how I watch sci-fi, because I'm like, this is like some next level shit. Like, I can't speak highly enough on Season 1. I thoroughly enjoyed it. This Hober Mallow shit this season, I absolutely hate how overtly it's going for Harry Potter. Like, and here's the thing, I like Harry Potter. Like, I'm not trying to shit on it, but I'm not watching Foundation for like cheap magic, sleights of hand, and he who shall not be named. Like, I'm not into that shit. And I'd also say that the Harry Gale Salvor plotline, I'd say it feels like it's stuck in the mud, but that suggests it's even trying to go somewhere. And well, to that point, where's it going then? If you disagree, where's it going? Tell me what you expect to happen in episode 4. Don't worry, I'll wait. You can't tell me because they're giving you no fucking clue where that storyline is going. And when they give you a clue, like, hey, there's a second foundation that's opening up on this planet Ignis. That's where we're going. And then we spend a whole episode doing not that. So, we're 3 episodes in, and 2 of them ended with some new revelation about the nature of Harry. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been sitting here hoping, been sitting here hoping for a realer version of Harry. Like, as long as Jared Harris is on the show, I don't care if he's real, if he's a fucking hologram, if he's made out of fucking chopsticks. Like, I don't give a shit if Jared Harris is on the show. But it's like they keep like rolling out like, hey, here's Harry again, and this time he's even more fleshy. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is not advancement of this at all. Let's just get into it. So, and I want to start actually with the Harry, Gale, and Salvor storyline, and I will henceforth be referring to it as the Shag group. That's Salvor, Harry, and Gale. I know you're not normally supposed to count the preposition, but hey, it gave me a word by counting the preposition. So the Shag storyline. In the last video, I said that I didn't believe for 1 second that Salvor's story would end the way that Gale saw it in the future. And I still don't. I still don't believe that. But apparently Harry watched my video because he put a lot of effort into convincing Gale how inevitable Salvor's death is. But I really liked... before I continue, I do just want to say, even though I feel like the Shag storyline has done jack shit in these first 3 episodes, and even though I don't like, well, I'm not gonna start about the Hober Mallow, but I will say there are still multiple aspects of the Shag plotline that I do still enjoy, and I liked the disagreement that happens between Gale and Harry over Salvor. Like, I like when people make really good points. And Gale tried to make like a one-to-one comparison between her desire to make changes that would allow Salvor to live and what Harry's doing. And Harry's like, nah, motherfucker, that's not what I'm doing. You want to do a bunch of problematic shit in the present, big-time shit to affect one small future event, which is Salvor's death. I'm over here just making small adjustments and tinkerings in the present to have colossal impact on the future. I'm like, God damn, that's a good point. Logic wins every time, baby, and I'm always going to be team Logic. So shout out to Harry in that scene. But it also really hit home this episode with how upset he is about Raish. Like, I know he's upset, but it just seems like anytime Gale even like half sort of kind of mentions, like, if she just gives him an opportunity to be like, well, if Raish was here, like, he takes it. And I don't know, that's just funny to me. But Shag arrives not at Ignis, but at a place, I think he refers to it called Una's World. But it's the place where, it's the place where Harry was told to go when he was in the Prime Radiant, and very much not the place that me, Gale, and Salvor thought that they were going. But Harry tells him that this world is uninhabited, but they're not alone. And I just thought, okay, well, let's see what that's good. I thought that's gonna be something cool. Whenever that sentence makes sense, it's gonna be cool. Wasn't. So Harry meets with somebody named I think her name it's spelled Kalle. I can't remember how they pronounced it in the episode. Callie, because I don't think it's like calle, like Spanish for street. I probably Callie, but I don't recall they said in the episode, but. He says he doesn't know what's going to happen next, but if he's not back in 6 hours, which is a strangely specific number, for them to leave. And then him and Callie kind of like freeze Gale out. They close the door right in her face, just like Michael Corleone. And we then find out what Harry meant about them not being alone, because after that 6 hours has elapsed and they're ready to go, there's some sort of like robotic monster underground. As Gale and Salvor are leaving, they see Harry stranded, and upon retrieving him, they learn that he is apparently now a more real version, flesh and blood possibly version, and even he doesn't understand how that's possible. And again, here's my problem with the Shag storyline. Nothing's fucking happened in it. Like, that plot line has been full episodes of like solely setup and cool visuals. And again, don't get me wrong, I like both setup and cool visuals, but when is the plot line gonna get some fucking direction? Like, I thought they were gonna go to Ignis this week, and by the end of the episode, the only thing that we gained was a new fucking mystery about how the fuck Harry is now like a flesh and blood person. And when I said that I like episodes of when I said that I like solely, not solely, I didn't say solely, but when I said I like the setup and I like cool visuals, I just feel like the show might be relying on that a bit too much. Like, I feel like they're relying on it a bit too much, and furthermore, I feel like it's something they are not very good at right now. Like the action in season 1 was kind of weak, but I was so into everything else, and the action stuff was not important. But like they've had moments in the Shag storyline specifically, where they do like these little brief like action moments, like we gotta get, and I think they all been like we gotta get this ship out of something, but every time they do it, it's like very mediocre. Like it's not good at all. Like it's just like, okay, so that happened, and then that was fine. And like I said, when you add in the fact that now the plot doesn't even seem to have any direction, it's those sorts of things stand out more, because those things feel like they should be a reprieve. Like, oh, I can at least I get a cool action sequence while nothing else the fuck's happening anywhere else. And then the action sequence happens and is mid as fuck, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's disappointing. And it's a planet with robot creatures underground, so maybe it's a robot body that Harry has. I don't know, but at this point I don't care anymore, because spending 3 episodes on making Harry more real when Jared Harris is on the show regardless of how real Harry is just not worth the time to me. Like, I don't even care anymore. I just want to know where the storyline is going. Are they ever going to go to Ignis to start the second Foundation? Because I don't want this to turn into Daenerys going to Westeros, where it's like, oh, we're going to Ignis for the second Foundation, and shit just keeps happening that's not irrelevant, but like that it just feels like, okay, so here's another pit stop on the way to where we're actually supposed to be going. Stop teasing me with an end game, a destination of where this is going, and just do fuck all and just have other things happening. Are they gonna keep making pit stops that result in some new form of Harry every week? I don't know. Is it gonna be a liquid metal T-1000 next week? Who knows? But that plot line desperately needs direction before I stop caring. Like, I really need that to go somewhere. Because in general, I like everything they've set up. Like, I like the idea of needing a second Foundation. I like the idea of going to Ignis. I like the Shag storyline is the one that even set up the Hober Mallow stuff and the mule. And you remember I was like, that sounded really cool. And then we got to Hober Mallow. So let's actually move on to talking about that. So over on Terminus, the decidedly more Empire-like Foundation, the first one, has decided they need to find Hober Mallow, because it's like, well, shit, if his name's on the fucking vault, then he must be important. Great logic. And this is when I ceased to be watching Foundation and found myself watching a new fucking Harry Potter movie, and I just don't like that. I like Harry Potter. I don't want it in my Foundation. The weight of everything in season 1 was monumental. The stakes were high, the tension was high. Like I said, it challenged what I expected out of my sci-fi. But this Hober Mallow shit this season is way too fucking goofy so far for my taste. And like I said, I like Harry Potter. I just don't like it in my Foundation. That's not what I signed up for. It's the same reason that I didn't like the last 2 Thor movies. Because it's like they were like, oh, you guys think Guardians of the Galaxy is cool, is fun because it's weird, it's goofy, and it's fun? You like Guardians? Well, here's Guardians in your Thor. I don't want Guardians in my Thor. I can watch fucking Guardians. I want to watch fucking Thor. And that's what I feel about this. I want to watch Foundation. I want to watch fucking Harry Potter. So, like, this whole Hober Mallow plotline in this episode, it was just some boring fucking sleight of hand. Like, he very, 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 very variably, very predictably gets this king to try on this bracelet that swaps bodies. Like, why the fuck would anyone ever do that? But I'm just sitting here like, this is way too dumb of a scene for a show this smart. And then ultimately, Hober Mallow avoids execution by revealing that actually it wasn't the bracelet that caused the body swaps. It was some node in his mouth, and he absconds with the Eye of Corel, which is some jewel. So now we know who Hober Mallow is, how he gets down, how he operates, all that kind of shit, his personality. And I don't know about you guys, but as of now, he is decidedly less cool than the mule guy made him sound last week. I'm thinking like, this the guy that's supposed to bring down the Empire. That's what the mule said. And then they show him to me in these fucking intergalactic David fucking Blaine. I don't give a fuck about that. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know. This Hober Mallow shit, dog. I did not sign up for Harry fucking Potter, man. Like, I don't know. Like, it was so bad that, like, they even had a thing where, like, they even made him sound like Voldemort. Like, well, we can't say his name or some shit. Like, even Hober Mallow sounds like a fucking pseudonym for fucking Voldemort, like Tom Riddle or some shit. Like, fuck, I can't believe this shit is Harry fucking Potter. Like, that is not the fucking show that I watched in season 1, and that is not what the fuck I want now, is Harry fucking Potter. I do not want that. Bring back Raised by Wolves if Foundation is going to turn into Harry Potter, because I'm pass. Anyway, moving on to Empire, the lack of Empire in this episode was heavily fucking felt again, because again, when I already don't like the Harry Potter shit, and now I'm getting less of the good part of this show, the best part of this show. Like, this is the best stuff. And it got the least amount of screen time in favor of giving more screen time to Voldemort and the Shag storyline, which is running in place any fucking way. So, we open the Empire plot at a place called the Lepsis Penal Colony, which I don't know, that sounds really overtly sexual for some reason. Not just penal, something about Lepsis, I don't know. But we immediately see how they treat the prisoners, and a ragged man that's pretty small in stature stands up for the other prisoners. And as Demerzel arrives, we learn that this is Bel Rios, who we saw how Day reacted to just the name drop of Bel Rios. But apparently Bel Rios believes his husband, Glaywin Kerr, he believes him to be dead. He believes that he was executed by Empire, but Demerzel informs him that not only is his husband alive, but they can reunite if Bel agrees to their proposal of leading this group is going to assess how big of a threat Foundation Number 1 is. And Bel Rios is going to discover that Foundation Number 1 is actually just Empire Number 2. But Bel ultimately proves his loyalty to Day. He gets to see his husband, and they head off to the Outer Rim with Bel's crew. And I love the dynamic between Bel and Day as well. Now there's two people on this show that don't kowtow to Day's every whim. And the scene is better than this one sentence that I'm about to give it. But the scene where he reunites with his husband was outstanding. Like, that was a great fucking scene, man. And it just made me even madder that I had to watch Harry fucking Potter for most of this episode. But between this and the stuff with Day and Queen Sereth, like, I'm truly excited to see more from the Empire plotline. Like, it's the best one this season. It feels most like the show that I loved in season 1. And hopefully they're going to give if they're going to be giving certain plot lines a back seat each week, like they did with Empire this week, hopefully for episode 4, maybe Shag could take a back seat, or Harry Potter could take a back seat, and I could spend, 30 minutes of the episode with the Empire plotline and with Day and with Queen Sereth and all that kind of shit, and Bel Rios, and then I could come like, that was a fire fuck. We all can agree. If we got an episode that was mostly Day, Queen Sereth, and Bel Rios and Demerzel, that would be a fire fucking episode, guaranteed, right? Right. So, I'm going to close out with a couple of thoughts, and then since I got this one out late, guys, sorry about that. I had a crazy weekend last weekend. I will be watching Foundation episode 4 tonight, so if you hop on the Facebook page, probably around midnight, I will be watching that episode and doing my live commentary that I always do. And I'll also be watching the 4th episode of Harley Quinn as well. All right, so a couple of thoughts. When they got to Una's world, the place Harry was told to go in the Prime Radiant, and I'm pretty sure it was called Una's world. I wouldn't have wrote that down if it was like that. I wouldn't just make up OONA in my head. I had to have seen it on the subtitles. But when they get there, there's like a statue there, and there's a hand, and the hand kind of looks like the same hand that's in the title, the opening credits visuals, but the person doesn't look like Harry. And I wonder if it is the same hand from the opening credits, that means the person's important. Who is that person? Or am I tripping and it was Harry? I don't know. But then it's like, well, why would there be a statue of Harry in advance of his arrival? You know what I'm saying? Like, and also I thought it was Ignis. I found out it wasn't Ignis. But that was my thought too. Like, okay, yeah, it makes sense that there be a statue of Harry on Ignis, but only after the second Foundation is before, not before they arrived to start it. So I don't know who that was. I don't know, but if it was Harry, let me know. Like, maybe I'm tripping. But it looked like a bald guy or something. I don't know. It wasn't me, but I don't know who it was. Harry says that him and his life partner Yana birthed psychohistory, and then he said it was their only child that survived. And now, obviously, that suggests that they had a child that died, which raises the question of, when did they die? Because did he have like a child that lived to be like 20-something? And even more potentially interesting, he believes that this child died. Did it? Bel Rios believed his husband was dead. Wouldn't it be interesting if Harry has some living offspring? Wouldn't it be even more interesting if it was Homer Mallow? I'm laughing, but I feel like that's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, I feel like that's possible. I don't know. But that's not something you write into a script as a throwaway line. Like, I feel like that's gonna matter at some point that he either has a dead child or believes that he has a dead child. If I'm interpreting that line correctly, that could end up being something. So that's all I got. I want to say let me know what you thought in the comments, but I figure like you guys are probably not going to be happy with my slander of the Homer Mallow storyline, but sorry, not sorry. I'm not here for Harry fucking Potter.